Welcome in to Three the Hardaway, aka the three-man gel and weave, aka the best big three since LeBron, D Wade, and Bosh. And we back again, top 10 small forwards in the NBA by ESPN standards. So what that means is that Kevin Durant is not going to be on this list. He'd be on next week's list because he's a top 10 player.
Of course.
Of course. If you don't know who I am the walking bucket, instant offense, savage. Up here, we got my guy, the coach on the sidelines, taking them to school on and off the court. And when I say it's really Sheedy, it's really Sheedy. Sheedy, what up, though?
Hey, man, another Sunday, fun day, something for your ears for Monday. Let's go.
Also up here, we got my guy, your favorite DJ's favorite DJ, the simple man himself, Mr. Tev Shakir. He kind of sad right now. Rough Sunday.
Talk about Sunday fun day, nigga. You ain't watch football yet. Your team ain't played yet. Sunday fun day for who? I had to watch my Texans lose against Alabama yesterday, and I had to watch my Panthers lose by the exact same way. But this is a basketball podcast.
This is a basketball podcast. So if you are here for football, stay tuned for LBR on Saturday.
But damn. We need to name this episode, but damn.
We'll name this episode 3 points, bro.
Three. Look, that's the amount. Texas lost by 1. My Panthers lost by 2. 3 points. There you go. 3 points, but damn. That's the title of this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Hope y'all having a beautiful Sunday, Monday, whenever you watch it, man. Let's go, Tevin, bro. Let's go, man.
I'm sure Tevin has his good smoke in his hand right now because he needed.
I wanted to say we smoking on that dog pack, but damn, we just lost.
No, sir. We don't do that today.
So like I was saying, y'all, we're doing top 10 small forwards today, ESPN standards. So if your favorite player is not on today's list, he should have been on a previous list or on one in the future if he is that good of a player. Real quick update, we did have the Hall of Fame class for 2022. Getting into the Hall of Fame, it was Tim Hardaway, of course, UTEP two-step, of course, in the Run TMC and also for the Miami Heat. Then we also had, it was some other guy, I forget what the name was, Tim Hardaway and Manu Ginobili for the Spurs, obviously. Those guys stand out.
Okay, cool. Actually, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, Ginobili, one of the players that I watched when I was growing up as a left-handed player. So just want to give them some shout-outs before we get into the top 10.
Ginobili, Hall of Fame Ginobili. Who would have known?
Yeah, first ballot too, which I agree with. I mean, he was one of the best bench players of all time, man. He was integral to the Spurs dynasty, to be honest. So those players
anywhere else outside of the Lakers, because they had Kobe, of course, but anywhere else he would have started.
Yep.
And I think, Manu Ginobili and Greg Popovich created to me what it meant to be a sixth man, right? Manu came off, instant offense, buckets, whatever, would lead the offense right off the bench, gave Tony some spills as well.
Yep.
They created what we see today and made the other players more relevant as six players, right? And nowadays, if you don't have a sixth man,
you need one. You gotta have one.
You hurting. Shout out to Tim Hardaway, man. One of the reasons why I'm a Miami Heat fan, killer crossover, man. Just do your research, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this. It wasn't just Allen Iverson was not the first one. Thanks. Kyrie Irving was not the first one, man. Tim Hardaway really was breaking people down the nice way.
Yep. With the exact same move, too. Every time between the legs, cross. Every time. They couldn't stop it.
Never failed. Never. I don't know how much game tape they watched, but it was the same move. Always to the right.
Yep, always.
any young hoopers listening to us, go look up a top 10 crossover for Tim Hardaway. If you learn how to do crossovers, whether you're talking AI, Kyrie Irving, Jason Williams, they all pretty much learn from Tim Hardaway. So if you want to learn from an OG, shout out to the Hall of Fame crossover himself, a legend, Tim Hardaway. Shout out to him getting the Hall of Fame as well.
Really, you got two iconic moves. You got the UTEP two-step and you got the Euro step with Ginobili. I mean, you thought he was traveling. He really just taking 1, 2, steps to get to the lane, and you couldn't stop it. You literally couldn't stop it. And you see that move a lot now. You talk about crossovers, but the Euro step, I mean, Giannis is the king of it right now. He Euro stepping into dunks. You know what I'm saying? So that's
from the 3-point line.
From 3-point line, yeah. Big ass steps. So yeah, shout out to the Hall of Fame class 2022. But without further ado, gentlemen, let's get into the top 10 list. So Took, you got energy right now. So I feel like I want you to go ahead and do your honorable mention, man. Go ahead and get your energy out.
Let me see. Honorable mention. Honorable mention. Dang, that's crazy. I actually didn't have an honorable mention.
Should go just
Let me see.
put somebody out there.
Yeah, I actually have one because like most of like the small forests that I rock with like are real deal like there. Let me see. She, you got one?
Oh, I got two.
Go
I
ahead.
got
Go ahead.
Okay,
yeah, I
go
go.
ahead. I need that down.
So I'll preface my whole list again by telling you all my list is based upon what happened last season, what I think is going to happen this upcoming season, players proving it, and also value to their team. Um, it's funny, there's this ever since the Donovan Mitchell trade, people, analysts have been putting out there are 9 teams in the East. One team is not going to make it. And one of my teams, I believe, is going to make it will be because of this player and how he can help out. And that is from the Washington Wizards, is Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma to me is, we've talked about this already. He's starting to ascend more and more. He's on that spotlight in LA. And he's primed to give you 20. He's really sitting about 17-ish. We talked about Bradley Beal already. Bradley Beal bringing a top 5 that we all agreed upon. He's going to need some help scoring somewhere along that lines. And I think Kyle Kuzma is great with that. And like I said, I think he can really spell some time and give a bucket or two for the Wizards. And to me, he's going to be one of the reasons and the catalyst for why they can make the playoffs. Another player who, again, this is so crazy. The way this list I've chosen, my honorable mentions, I should say. The other honorable mention comes from the Western Conference, and again, it's another person that was actually been added to a team this upcoming season, and they could also, no, but they also could make the playoffs themselves, coming off a year of last year. And this player is Jeremy Grant. Um, Jeremy Grant is solidified. He was solidified with Detroit, right? But I mean, who was scoring for Detroit? But now he's going to a different situation where he doesn't have to be the number one option. Honestly, you don't really have to be the number 2 option if he doesn't have to or want to be. But he'll be able to space the floor. And to the point of, I believe it's 2 has the Trailblazers going into the playoffs this upcoming season. They're going to need some support from Grant, along with other players we've already mentioned this season, Anthony Simons, Damian Lillard as well, aforementioned in our previous podcast. So to me, 2 honorable mentions to look out for this upcoming season: Kyle Kuzma and Jeremy Grant. These are going to be, if these players are ascending and doing well, they will have their teams in the playoffs, even though I didn't have the Trailblazers in the playoffs. But if they are doing well, I'll rock with it.
Yeah, I rock with everything you just said about Kyle Kuzma for real. Like, expect to turn like career high in points, rebounds, assists. He look a lot more comfortable in that Wizards offense. And of course, me and you both got team success in it, and I got the Wizards in the playoffs for sure. So Kyle Kuzma is definitely like, if we're gonna talk a lot about fantasy basketball today. If you fantasy basketball playing, Kyle Kuzma is one of those guys that's underrated, but will get you some of everything. Another player that can get you honestly some of everything next year would be Dylan Brooks. I mean, we don't. I don't like talking about Dylan Brooks because his A-button appears to not work at most times of the game. But when Jaren Jackson being gone a lot of next year, we can see a scoring, increase in him. Besides, of course, when Jaren come back, it may dip. But until Jaren does get back, I could see Dylan Brooks, of course, shoot more. But that's what he's gonna do anyway. But when you talk about Dylan Brooks and the reason he is loved is because he is one of the better two-way perimeter defenders as well. So the fact that he can put up, 17 to 20 points a game and guard the best player, I think that's pretty good. So we do gotta salute Dylan Brooks. But you just gave a salute to my guy Jeremy Grant. Of course, I've been raving about him, so we're gonna start the top 10 right there. He's at number 10 for me, averaging 19 a game. I don't expect much of a drop off because he'll be playing for the Blazers, so he won't be option number 1. But I still think he can put up 18 to 20 points a game. They're still there, and I think he's very underrated defensively. But somebody who's there consistently defense, consistently offense, Chris Middleton. That's my number 9 mid, of course, coming off of surgery, but he's still giving you consistently 20 points a night, and he will go out, and guard, the defender's best player in the Bucks. 2 years ago, were the champions. You got people to say if mid was playing last year, they want to beat the Celtics, but that's neither here and there. But for right now, Chris Middleton, we say consistency is key for a reason. That's why mid is on my list, top 9. Let's see, number 8. Got to go my guy Wiggins, who is the current champion right now. Who would have known we'd be saying Andrew Wiggins would be a top 10 small forward, right, when he was playing for the Timberwolves. But, you know, he averaged 17 points a game, which was actually his lowest points per game since his rookie year. But he shot his best 3-point percentage and second best field goal percentage. And he does, I think, in my opinion, outside of Draymond Green, he's the best defender on the Warriors team. So you do got to salute to that. And I think that he may still average, 17 a game, whether the game plan is with Steph to get the ball or Klay to get the ball or Jordan Poole to get the ball. I think he'll still put up that 17, 18 consistently. But we saw what he can do with the boys with rebounding in the finals. So expect his rebound numbers to go up as well. Let me see tonight. Number 7, I got Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, of course, we know isn't a real regular season type player. In the playoffs, he's definitely top 5 easily. I don't know who I knock out, but in the regular season, he averaged 21 points a game, 6 boards, 5.5 assists on the team. That's, just right there. My thing is the guy's shooting 25% from 3. If you look up Jimmy Butler, who would have known that a guy like Jimmy Butler would be shooting 25% from 3? If he can get that up, of course, he can be top 5 in the regular season, but we know Jimmy Butler and what he does and when it matters. So I'm not going to disrespect him on that at all. And rounded out, my bottom 5 will be DeMar DeRozan, the savior for the Bulls. Average career high 28 points a game. I guess he gets better with time because this will be gear, 12 for DeMar DeRozan, something like that. And the sky's still the limit. Like, he put up 28 points a game, saved the Bulls from a worse record because he was always hitting buzzer beaters and saving them in clutch situations. So I do expect the Bulls to take a step back. That's why DeMar DeRozan isn't in my top 5. But I do want to salute to DeMar DeRozan.
So before you go, Savage.
Go ahead.
I think
because you laughing at me. Hold on, what's up?
I think the top 5 that we never discussed, but we kind of said can be interchangeable. I saw his face, and I think he might think something different like myself. What would we start with? Right? You open up Pandora's box. Let's go ahead and dive in.
Okay, on who?
Oh, no. We're gonna wait till the lists are done. Then we'll talk.
Yeah, wait till the list. So me and Sheedy had a pre-show discussion, and I was like, the top 4 got to be interchangeable, and I think we might have some discussions a little bit later.
All right, I'm looking forward to that then. All right.
So real quick for my honorable mention, because I didn't get to do it. Kyle Kuzma was on my honorable mention. 17, 8, and 4. He's a walking bucket, literally. I knew when the Lakers drafted him, and when I saw his first summer league game, I was like, oh yeah, he's a professional NBA player. Like that's what he does. But my other one, sneaky, Franz Wagner from the Orlando Magic. He been killing Eurobasket, and he was killing last year, like early and often. 6'10", walking bucket. Like this year, watch out for him playing with Paolo, playing with Cole, playing with Markelle, all them players. I like Franz Wagner. I really like what he can do.
You really want us to have the Magic in the playoffs for some reason. I hear you speaking it.
I'm just saying.
I hear you
saying.
I'm
just saying. I see Voltron forming down there in Orlando. I see it forming with Paolo. But number 10, I actually got the rookie of the year. I got Scotty Barnes, 6'7". Scotty Barnes is it, ladies and gentlemen. He has the NBA frame. He can score. He can defend. He just has it for me. I low key would have put him higher, but I was like, he was second year. I can't do it right now. So I went Scotty Barnes at 10. At number 9, I got Tooks guy Andrew Wiggins. I think 9, 8 is about the range for a player like that. The NBA Finals was crazy for me because I didn't believe in Andrew Wiggins throughout the entire playoffs, and he proved me wrong time and time again. The man could not shoot in Minnesota, ladies and gentlemen, and somehow he just got some residual Splash Brother energy from Steph, from Klay, from Poole, and he was knocking down that corner 3 while locking up the best player on the other end of the court. So I had Andrew Wiggins at number 9. Number 8, I have Anthony Edwards. I think this is a year where Anthony Edwards is supposed to take off and be an all-star this year. I got to see it first personally before I give him that top 5 ranking. But I think he is top 5 talent. He could be top 3 talent if he decides to play defense and rebound. Number 7, I got Brandon Ingram. Again, I need to see them in the playoffs perform well before I can give him into that top 5 territory. But Brandon Ingram is a walking bucket, ladies and gentlemen. Like that man, that's his job is go get a bucket. And when he's on, like nobody can guard this man. Like literally, he's one of the best scorers in the NBA for a reason. I think he had 20-something points a game. Let me see, 23 points a game, 6 boards, 6 assists. Give me Brandon Ingram number 7. And at number 6, this is where I got DeMar DeRozan. Primarily because in the regular season, the man is a problem. Playoffs come, he disappears, and I can't put that in top 5 for me. So I got DeMar DeRozan at number 6 for the fact that he's had some playoff runs with Toronto, and the fact that he's a veteran. He's a veteran who's been doing this for a long time, and I've seen him do it to a certain extent before running to LeBron James in the playoffs. So 10 through 6 again is Scotty Barnes, Andrew Wiggins, Ant-Man, Brandon Ingram, and DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, this discussion will be funny as hell.
Go ahead, Sheedy.
Sure. So let's get started with mine. So with number 10, I have on my list, I agree here. I think with you calling this one out is Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton is 10 for me, top 10 small forward. Has proved his worth, is able to stretch the floor for Giannis, which is absolutely needed. Also a guy within you're up 5, we need that killer shot. You're throwing it to Chris Middleton. He's going to get it to you. Sometimes injuries play a part, and I don't see him as explosive or looking for his shot as often, which is why I put him at 10. Number 9 here, I agree. We got to go up top, up north, and go get Scotty Barnes at number 9. His value to the Raptors is exceptional. I believe the Raptors right now, to me, besides Fred VanVleet, you can trade everyone else except for Fred VanVleet and Scotty Barnes. And that's how valuable Scotty Barnes is. Scotty Barnes is a lockdown defender. That's something that you cannot teach. He goes and guards your best player from 2 to 4, maybe even 1 through 4 as well. His offense is going to come eventually. But I mean, the way that he goes and defends, whether it's summer league, pro-am, or regular season, he does not slack on defense. And that is why I have him so high at number 9. And trust me, once his offense starts flowing, he'll be up there. And it's going to be for years to come as well. So that's 10, 9, 8. I have, I'm back in New Orleans. I'm going to go ahead and talk about Brandon Ingram as well. If I had the Pelicans in the playoffs, for the Pelicans to make the playoffs, they have to have some top 10 players and some top 10 talent as well. To your point, Brandon Ingram can go and score. He is, I don't even want to say a great value. Let's call it a private selection, so to speak, of Kevin Durant. Okay, if you know what a private selection is, you know where you're shopping. Okay, because he can score at multiple points on the floor, right? But he's not Durant. But he's getting paid very handsomely. But for the Pelicans to ascend to be in the playoffs, they're going to need a healthy and a reluctant Brandon Ingram to score when it's time. Speaking of teams that need their players, they traded a lot to help this player out, which is Anthony Edwards. Traded 5 for Rudy Gobert, and we won't talk about that right now. We'll talk about this team will go as far as Anthony Edwards. And they, again, value to teams. They didn't go and get Rudy Gobert for Cat to want to play the 4 or whatever. They got him for Anthony Edwards, because to me, I think you can trade Cat at some given time. We'll talk about that later. But Anthony Edwards, to your point, if he can get more on defense from him or more consistent on rebounding, he can score his ass off. Whenever he feels like getting a bucket, he can score. And he can score against some of your better defenders as well. He's not afraid to go and do that. So I have him at number 7. I should really start writing the numbers down with mine. And number 6, I have here DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan is 6, could have been up at 5. My reason behind it, it's crazy because DeMar DeRozan was a top 5 MVP candidate through the majority of the season, probably ended the season as a top 10, but he's kind of like scraping the top in his own position. And the reason why I say that is because DeMar DeRozan showed up against teams that were not of the caliber of playoff caliber. He'll put up 40, but it might be the Magic. Okay. And then he might be a shell of himself against, I don't know, the Raptors and getting guarded by Scotty Barnes. So there's times when I've seen greatness from him, and there's times where he's just shrunk on the court. Now, I think that, going into next year, I think Zach LaVine can help that out, right? A healthy Lonzo when he's ready and all that. But right now, I'm putting him at 6, and I'm not going to put him any further until I see him consistently scoring against everyone. One of the reasons, to the point someone talked about DeMar DeRozan in the playoffs, he shrunk when he saw LeBron. Every season, every time. And so when he sees talent that is, of his same caliber or higher, I don't see him. And so with that, I can't put him as a top 5, but I do have him at 6. So again, 6, DeMar DeRozan, 7, Anthony Edwards, Brandon Ingram is 8, Scotty Barnes is 9 and climbing, and 10 is Chris Middleton.
Yeah, that's a real good point about DeMar DeRozan too, bro. Like all great points on why we really can't put him in the top 5. So, and one thing we say is if a player shows you who they are, like we gotta believe him. Like he's 33 years old at this point. Like I mean, I'm not sure what it'll take for him.
He is what he is. That's how it is now. 33 years old.
Season player in the playoffs, he don't put up the numbers that we would like for him to put up. So. I mean, that's spot on. But for my top 5, so apparently, like with y'all top 5, y'all did, what y'all expect to be. But for mine, I did it for what I expect to be. I expect Brandon Ingram to be a top 5 small forward last season. He put up 23 a game, 4th among small forwards. I think that number could rise, but I think the reason that the Pelicans didn't go out and get a point guard was before they got CJ McCollum and they got Brandon Ingram, who averaged his career high 5 assists a game. We saw with Jason Tatum, who we'll definitely talk about, turn up in the playoffs. We saw what he can do, with getting the ball to his different teammates and, creating for other people. And I think Brandon Ingram will continue to do that. So I think he'll have a big season next year. And of course we got I got the Pelicans in the play-ins at least. But as far as number 4, it's funny because I really had to go into my basketball psyche with this one and understand that next season Cat won't be the number 1 option. It will be Ant-Man. So he averaged 21 last season. They can easily be 25, 26 a game. And he's also saving energy on defense because you do got Rudy Gobert there in the regular season. So again, we can see him average 25, 26 a game and still still do pretty good defending the perimeter. So if that's not top 5 worthy, top 4 worthy, man, I'm not sure what that is. So I'd love to talk to y'all about that one. But number 3, of course, Kawhi Leonard. I mean, it's Kawhi. He missed all season, getting his downloads and making sure his oil and everything that you need to fix a robot is good. He should be straight. Apparently with reports, he's good. He's running. He's straight. And of course, he'd be coming back to a Clippers team that's pretty good. That's probably that is much better than when he left. And when he left, he still was putting up 5 assists a game, which was his career high. So we can see, those same numbers, with 25, 6.5 rebounds and 5 assists. I mean, that's Kawhi Leonard we talking about. And don't let me talk about defense. I mean, it's there. It's there. So number 2. Arguably the best player in the playoffs outside the NBA Finals, Jason Tatum. Again, we saw him transform his game really into the playoffs, but all season, averaged a career high 27 points a game and 4.5 rebounds, 8 assists, y'all. 8 assists a game for Jason Tatum, who we're seeing to continually rise offensively progression. One thing I expect Jason Tatum to do is, because he does have what I like to call a balancing player, a balancer in Malcolm Brogdon. He's going to come and help balance the offense for the Celtics. And I think that'll put Jason Tatum right around, 27, 28 a game. But I think his percentages will be a lot higher. So he could average more. But Jason Tatum, definitely number 2. And number 1, I can't disrespect y'all king. I can't do it. So LeBron James, number 1, averaged 30 points a game. Like, we're talking about somebody that gets better at time in DeMar DeRozan. What can we say about LeBron James? Like, he's literally about to break Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's scoring record, a record I never thought could be broken. He's about to break that next season, and he's still probably got a few more years to play. So until further notice, until what you say, Savage, information changes, LeBron always be the number one small forward to me. So to start off again, number 5, top 5, Brandon Ingram. 4, Ant-Man. 3, Kawhi Leonard. 2, Jason Tatum. And 1, Yao King, LeBron James.
Bro, too. I used to play NBA Live early 2000s. Y'all know I'm talking about when Live was king over 2K. And I used to see like I used to see like the records you have to break, like you play franchise mode. And even as like a 10-year-old, I'm like, nobody breaking their record. 37,000 points. Nobody breaking their record. Little did we know. Little did we know that LeBron James, even with the bubble year, like the shortened year, he still is gonna be able to break that record. That's a lot of scoring, ladies and gentlemen. And LeBron James could have scored more points. He could have scored more points if he wanted to. He chose.
Yeah, he practiced free throws. He actually shot 75% last year. Yeah.
He did.
Keep it going, buddy. Keep it going.
I'll go with my top 5. So number 5, I got Chris Middleton. I think the season could have went differently for Milwaukee had Chris Middleton played 20 points a game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Giannis is that dude. I mean, he's number one option for the Bucks, but let's not forget Chris Middleton was also that dude when Giannis went down with that hyperextension during the playoff run and won a championship. Chris Middleton is, I think, a top 5 small forward in my opinion. Number 4, this is where I get Tatum. Tatum had an amazing playoff run. I still am kind of like on him as a primary option. I think that he shrunk in the finals. I think that it's the Jaylen Brown Tatum effect. It's like something has to give there, in my opinion. And I'm wondering, how does life look if he does not have Jaylen Brown? I'm wondering, how does life look like that long term? Really, for both of them. Both of them, I'm kind of like I'm unsure as to that.
I don't think that's fair though, because he still, it is what it is. He's there.
He's there. He's there, but I'm thinking like compared to the other players above him, it's kind of what I'm getting at. So if you put, in my opinion, I know last year happened. Last year was an outlier in my opinion for the Miami Heat, which is why I got Jimmy at number 3. Jimmy Butler, if you put them players and that team in the 7-game series more times than not, I think Miami got them. I think Miami will find a way to figure them out, which is why I got Jimmy here. He did shoot god awful last year, but I trust Jimmy more in the playoffs. Jimmy is not a regular season player at all. He don't do that. Playoff time, that man turns to a whole Hall of Fame type player every single time. So I got Jimmy at 3. Number 2 is where I get the robot, Kawhi Leonard. It's time, man. Like, him being that 2 is not me saying like something crazy. It's more so like, hey man, you ain't playing about 2 years. And when he plays, Kawhi Leonard arguably is the best player in the NBA. Like, when they won a championship for Toronto, I was like, nobody better than him right now, because he can guard your best player and he can give you 40. And he has no go-to move, y'all. This man does the same dribble, pull up, and you can't stop
That's his go-to move.
It's so simple. Move. It's so simple.
Simplicity is coach was.
It's so simple that nobody can stop it. But that's the reason why I got him at 2. They have to play this year. Him and Paul George, they got to play this year. John Wall is there. You got Norm Powell. You have a solid roster. This is an NBA Finals team that literally could win the championship if Kawhi Leonard plays. Even if he doesn't play, this team can win a series if they just play regular basketball. But with Kawhi Leonard, this is a Finals team in my opinion. So I'm putting him at 2 with the hope that he plays this year. I think he will play this year. And number 1, I mean, it's King James, 30 points a game last year. If the Lakers had any ounce of competency, he'd be in the MVP conversation, because I mean, the man's still getting bucks at 37, 38 years old. How old he is, I don't know. Yeah, LeBron James number 1. To my top 5: Middleton, Tatum, Butler, Kawhi, and the King James.
Woo! We talked about how this list is interchangeable at a certain point. I'm about to change it. Number 5, and I think also, like, sometimes we talk about, like, I know this is talking about regular season, right? But you have to look into the playoffs, and you have to see, like, because the playoffs is when you see the best talent, so to speak, within your conference and overall in the NBA. And so I think we do have to take that into consideration. And because I did take the playoffs into consideration, as well as what happened last season, and this player understand his role going into next season, number 5, I have Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins guarded your best player. He threw fits when he really understood his assignment against Luka, and then that dunk that he had really kind of swung momentum solely to Golden State. And you're also talking about a player that can also give you 20 when he needs to. But he did so many things. You talked about Dylan Brooks earlier. He did so many of those intangibles that will never show up on a stat sheet. But again, guarding your best player, can score, knows his role in the offense as well. So I have Andrew Wiggins at 5. You can shoot me if you want, but I'm going to go dying with that one because I believe. Yeah, I really believe in. Here's the other thing: when we're talking about this list as well, we're also talking about part of this has to go into coaching. So you talked about Andrew Wiggins earlier and how he was really a shell of himself in Minnesota, right? He wasn't at arguably where he was at. Now he wasn't an all-star. Certainly wasn't a starting an all-star. Now with Steve Kerr, now understanding his role and what he can do, what his potential really is, I don't think he's done yet. And so I think he has some stuff to prove going into this next season at number 5. Number 4, again, interchangeable list. I have my guy Jimmy Butler here at number 4. To the point that's already been made. It's not really regular season. He's going to give you everything in the playoffs, make or miss. And I got to roll with that. You know, as much as that 3-point shot hurt me, that he missed, shooting 25%, when he had a lane to go, he's still a top 5 talent at his position. He still, I think, even leads his position in steals per game. And he's averaging about 2 a game every single season. So he's bought into the defensive scheme, and he was bought into defense before he came to Miami. He's always been a great guy there. And he's been a talent. I don't know how he makes some of the shots he makes, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. I really don't. And I'm so thankful he goes to the rim to go get a bucket. The reason why I have him at 4 as well is because when we needed a bucket, even if we're down 8, he's going to go charge right there. He has that basketball knowledge to go and get his score. Whether or not he's going to make it or miss, oh well. But he's probably going to go to the free throw line because of it. And hopefully hit that or 1 or 2 free throws. Number 3 for me is Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum, regular season, started to understand his role more or less, I believe maybe, let's say like late January, early February. Team that I think we talked about a couple of shows ago that was maybe top 8, maybe not around Christmas. I can't remember, Savage, if you can recall, but about the Boston Celtics. But a team that truly ascended to get where they needed to go was because of their coach. Yes. We should also probably do top 10 coaches, by the way. Their coach, but also just his play and him understanding like you are 1A and understanding that our other guy is 1B, right? But you are the driver. You're the catalyst for our offense. And even when they were trying to figure out where's Marcus Smart, fitness, all this, Jason Tatum was always around. So I have Jason Tatum at 3. Of course, you know, you sweep Durant and Kyrie. I got to give you something right there as well. 1 and 2. 2, I got LeBron James.
Don't do.
2, I got LeBron James. Again, this list is interchangeable.
You are just gonna be that guy for this podcast, huh?
I love it.
I let him get away with Luka and Steph, and I'm not even a LeBron James fan.
Right.
Come on, dog.
So LeBron 2, Kawhi 1. Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
Okay, we can talk now. Go ahead. Yeah.
I get cut off. Let's go. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Go. Please tell us why LeBron is
go.
Please tell us
Please go.
Honestly, I don't. He's going to break the scoring record. We have no doubt about that. But I also don't think he's going to need to do as much for the Lakers this upcoming season. My other problem is I don't think they're the best team in LA.
That's facts.
And so they're not. And on top of that, I think Kawhi, again, my mindset is going to prove next season. Kawhi has been gone for a very long time. When you sit out a season in the NBA, it feels like an eternity. Ask Kevin Durant. he's going to come back with Kawhi's going to come back with a whole different mentality. And to be honest, yes, LeBron plays defense, but Kawhi never stops playing defense. And on top of that, he's still going to get you 25, 26. We have talked on this show specifically that the Clippers are championship contenders. We have yet to mention whether or not the Lakers are championship contenders fully healthy. So if you're going to talk to me about going into next season, fully healthy or not, I got the Clippers being championship contenders over the Lakers, who they've beaten 7 out of 9 times, I believe, face to face. And so, yes, I believe Kawhi right now is a better small forward. How the MVP rankings will go, who knows, who cares? I am still a LeBron James fan. I still believe he's the greatest of all time when it's all said and done. That does not mean that I think Kawhi is going to be the greatest of all time when it's all said and done. I just think going into next season, Kawhi has a lot more to prove than LeBron James. I'll field the questions that we should be going to two, but I'll take the questions.
I hate when Sheedy makes sense because it makes sense, but I'm just like it made my brain hurt, man. Like I'm getting a class change, y'all. Like I just I'm getting a new teacher, man.
I mean,
go ahead, Tim. I need time to think, man.
I mean, because like he kind of right, but like the only time I can really put, especially after the season he personally had, the only time I can put LeBron at number 2 is when we're talking greatest of all time. You know what I'm saying? Mm. So right now, of course the Clippers are a better team. Of course they're the championship team, but it's kind of unspoken that if LeBron would have had AD healthy, I think they'd be right there. And I do expect Anthony Davis to be healthy. I mean, they could sneak into the playoffs. They could be a top team in the playoffs, but is Anthony Davis going to stay healthy? And the reason I say that is because consistency is key. And if a player shows us we got to believe that's our top 2 commandments. And damn it, that's why. But still, LeBron still did what he did and put up 30. It's like he 38, he 37. He's 37 years old.
Not disputing those stats at all. Not disputing. However, is he going that hard if Anthony Davis is on the floor?
I think his assist numbers will go up easily.
So is he scoring 38?
He does play, his assist numbers rise, so he'll be top 5.
The fact that LeBron can do that is why he's number 1. He chooses when he gets to do that. Like he can say, I'm gonna get 40, I'll get 20 assists, 15 rebounds. The fact that he can choose. Like LeBron is like a 2K player. He can pick what badge he put on for the day. Let me get Hall of Fame limitless range. Let me get Hall of Fame dimer. Let me get Hall of Fame. You said what too?
I can pick my takeover.
He can pick his takeover literally not before any game, before any quarter, before any moment. The fact that he can do that is why LeBron James is number 1, in my opinion. Kawhi Leonard could be the best in the NBA if he just decides to play. Until further notice, LeBron James is the top small forward. I'm getting a class change. I'm no longer in Professor Riley's class anymore because it made my brain hurt, and I can't.
What's the website we used to use, Savage, with the
Rate My Professor? We give it a 1.
Yeah, 1 star. Do not take. But one page making you buy books.
I'll be honest, fellas, and I was talking to Savage about this before we joined and started. I've literally talked about this list out loud in my head here for like the past 2 to 3 days after I made the list. And I've sat with changing people. I've sat with changing DeMar DeRozan, Chris Middleton, and other players like that. And even my top 4, to the point that you made earlier, Savage, like top 4 is interchangeable. I really changed players within my top 4 based upon what I believe are my credentials.
Yeah.
Again, LeBron can go out. He might be the MVP next season. Matter of fact, let's back up. You could have made a case that Joel Embiid last year was the MVP.
Yeah.
However, Joker was the best center.
Mm-hmm.
See what I mean? Like, Kawhi could be the best small forward.
That's fair. I see that. That's fair.
Kawhi can still win the MVP.
That's fair.
I just got to be that guy for this show. I'll be that.
That's fair. You got anything else on LeBron James, Tevin? Because I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm surprised that Jimmy Butler's not in your top 5 too. I just need to know about that.
Thank
we
you.
literally just said that Jimmy Butler's not a regular season player. I mean,
but he's still an all-star though. He's still an all-star player. Like he makes all-star games.
I mean, true, but so is a lot of players that we named. You know what I'm saying? But as far as Jimmy Butler go, like we expect Victor Oladipo to take another step forward, right? We said that on the last podcast before then. We talked about how Kyle Lowry is supposed to come back and play a lot better. So I think a little, you know what I'm saying? Like when I did my list, this is based on, like I said, teams, you know, that I expect team success as well. So even with, you know, mine, I got, like I said, I had Anthony Edwards in my top 5.
I'm not mad at Ant-Man top 5. I'm not mad at that.
I got team success. You know what I'm saying? I got Brandon Ingram in because I do expect the Pelicans to be there and I expect his numbers to be better. I can't put Jimmy Butler in averaging 21 points a game and shooting 25% from 3. I just can't. You know what I'm saying? I just couldn't. And
if you trap
one month and be at the top of the conference, the next bottom top, like I mean, they just all everywhere regular season. But like I said, we talking playoff Jimmy Butler. Oh, he top 5, top 3 easily. You know what I'm saying? But regular season, nah, I just couldn't do
it. If you trapped Jimmy Butler in a room of 1-on-1 with Anthony Edwards, who getting out alive?
Jimmy.
But I'm not saying that Jimmy Butler is not a top 5. What I'm saying with Jimmy Butler is considering the numbers he's putting up right now, which is going to be consistent, 21, 22 a game. Hopefully he can shoot 30% from 3. And he's still one of the better two-way players, but I can't give somebody that I can't say, and we all said it, that he's not a regular season player. Ant-Man, who we just said, y'all say he's going to be a number 1 option. We expect his numbers. His numbers are already identical to Jimmy Butler's. We expect his numbers to rise. We expect him to turn into more of a two-way player as well. So, I mean, I get the one-on-one situation, but if we talking team basketball, 5-on-5 NBA standards,
I think Jimmy took third string players and whooped on Wiggins and Cat.
Yeah, but that was 18 years ago, bro. It's a whole other day. It's a whole different team, bro.
Jimmy's PER is 23.65, so he has high efficiency compared to Ant-Man's right now with 16. Of course, he got different players now with Gobert coming, but I just see Jimmy as a more. I mean, even with his shooting being terrible, I think he's just a more polished, like ready-made player. And I think to some extent next year Miami should be motivated. I don't know. I just trust Jimmy. Well, I don't trust him and them dreadlocks, but I trust.
In a weird way, turn off the show. If you ask me right now who I have as the most improved player, it'll be Anthony Edwards. And it's weird to say. We saw Ja Morant what he did, not last year, but the year before. It was like, ain't no way in hell he can win. He's MVP, not most improved. I can see literally the exact same thing being said about Anthony Edwards next year. Okay. So we can see, like I said, the 25 is low. 25 points a game is low balling it. It's low balling.
Okay, you're gonna hate me for this. Everybody's gonna hate me for this. Go ahead and cut Professor Riley right now. But I thought about this before you even brought this up too. Before we even got on the show. I can tell you right now, you talk about team success, right? And players with that team success. So my question to both of you, real quick, and then I'm going to make up a point.
Okay.
My extra credit, I guess. How many players do you need to be in a top 10 position for your team to be in the playoffs? So do you need, to your point, do we need Jimmy and Bam, right, for 2? Because I'm pretty sure Bam's going to be somewhere on someone's list.
I'd say 2.
I think 2 is fair. 2 is about what you want.
I think 2 top 10s will get you there. Like even if it's 1-on-5 or 1 on right at 10, I think 2 top 10s will get you there.
Yeah.
Okay. Now watch this. 2. This is between you and I, because Savage has already said this for this team. Again, one team out of the East cannot make it. You and I both selected the Bulls. He selected the Wizards. I guarantee you, we are going to name 3 Bulls players that are in the top 10 of their position. And we are still saying that they're not going to be in the playoffs. I hope to God we're right. I hope to God we're right. But Zach LaVine was somewhere on somebody's list.
Yeah.
Mar DeRozan is going to be on your list.
Yeah.
And I'll be damned if Vooch ain't on your list as a center. I'll be there. If not honorable mention.
So with that, it goes what I've said at least 5 times in this episode. If a player shows you you are, we believe him. Lonzo Ball, which is why I don't have the Bulls in the playoffs. Lonzo Ball, he's not going to play more than half the season.
Yeah.
Vooch, you attacking him all game. Zach LaVine, hopefully he can stay healthy. If he does, it's a bucket. But their defense is terrible. Team success, I don't see them doing too much in the playoffs next. I don't see them making the playoffs next season. And we saw how DeMar DeRozan had to save them numerous amount of times against the lower ranked teams, like you just said. So, I mean,
So I guess here's another question then. What team do you think is most likely to make the NBA Finals, Miami or Minnesota?
If I had to choose between the two of them, Minnesota coming out the West or Miami coming out the East, I got Miami coming out the East all day.
I'll pick Miami.
I don't think Minnesota has enough to come out the West.
I still can't see Miami getting past, and it's hard for me to say a healthy Milwaukee and a healthy Celtics. I'm somebody who knew the Celtics was going to beat the Heat last season. You know what I'm saying? Because the Celtics are better. But as far as, you know what I'm saying, the Timberwolves in the West, they're different. I'm excited to see what their front court with Cat and Gobert do.
Yeah.
You know, because it may, if that success from regular season, which what I'm saying, they're going to be a top 4 team in the West. If that transitions into the NBA playoffs, they're going to be dangerous. Like, I know I don't like give credit to what ifs, but what if Rudy Gobert played against us, the Grizzlies last year? It would have been a whole different series, right? Ja Morant's not getting those easy layups, right? Rudy Gobert fixed that. So to answer that question, I gotta say I gotta go with the Timberwolves. But no way in hell do I got them making the playoffs. But the only team that they would have trouble with is against the Warriors. And I guess the Clippers too healthy. But in the East, Miami got the Sixers may be gonna be pretty good. And you still gotta worry about the goddamn Nets. Nah.
I think a better question for Savage would have been if you switch Anthony Edwards and Jimmy Butler this upcoming season, who's going to make it further in that playoff run? Are we talking Jimmy Butler and the Minnesota Timberwolves, or would you expect more out of Ant and the Heat with lineups still intact the way they are? Who's going to carry their team further? And
that's a good question.
Because if Jimmy Butler was on the Timberwolves, they'd be in the finals. Or at least the West. I say the Western Conference easily.
Yeah, Jimmy brings something to your team.
My thing is, like, I'm expecting progression. Who's to say that Ant-Man won't have them in the Western Conference Finals next year? You know what I'm saying? Or you know, second round at least.
Oh, I'm going to tell you right now, they ain't making it to the Western Conference Finals. I'm left-handed guy. They're not better than the Mavericks. They're not better than the Warriors,
Nuggets,
Grizzlies, the Nuggets. I forgot about them.
Yeah, the Nuggets.
I remember they're not making out the first round.
So,
man, Jokic gonna kill Rudy Gobert, man.
I'm so ready.
Hey, I'm curious to see it because I feel like Jimmy. I feel like this is a year Jimmy bounces back from last year. I feel like Miami had Boston at some point in that series. I'm looking at Butler's record versus Tatum in the playoffs. This is their entire time, and they just about head up. Jimmy won 7, and Tatum has won 6 in the regular season. They are what? Well, I guess the games played. Jimmy is 4 wins, and Tatum is 6 wins. So, I mean, they about tit for tat. You know, but I think that Jimmy just got it, man. I think Jimmy is that dude. I think this year's gonna be the year, kind of like James Harden. James Harden, I think he's gonna bounce back this year and have a way better, efficient year throughout the entire 82 game season with Embiid. And I think Jimmy. I mean, Miami. I mean, she mentioned it with Kyle Lowry talking about he was fat last season. He come back motivated. He still got Spoelstra, in my opinion, a top 2-ish coach in the NBA. Heat culture, I think, is real, but I would love to see what you're saying too, because I love Ant-Man. And Ant-Man's my favorite young player right now, aside from like Memphis, John Moran, whatever. So if he does do it, I'm cheering for him. I just don't know if he's gonna be on Jimmy's level, in terms of like being better than Jimmy Butler. But hey, I would love to see it. I would love to see it happen.
Sheedy, I got a question for you, bro, because I love you, man. you had top 10 Larry, you know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? You had top 5 Wiggins. So I wanted to talk to you about that one real quick. Of course, I'm not totally against this, but just me being devil's advocate, you know what I'm saying, for content's sake, because I don't feel like Andrew Wiggins is a top 5 small forward, simply because, of course, you said coaching matters. Hammer on the head. I love me some Steve Kerr for sure. But I couldn't put somebody in the top 5 that's not the number 1, number 2, and possibly number 3 option.
That's how I feel too. I like he's top 10, but I can't put him top 5. He's not number 1 or 2 option. I can't do it.
And then, like, honestly, with Kawhi being healthy and with Ant-Man doing what I think he's gonna do, will he be an all-star this season? That's literally why I couldn't put him into my top 5. To that, you say?
To that, I say, honestly, I hope Andrew Wiggins balls the hell out for you guys and the Warriors and proves me right. I love to watch players. If you notice my list so far, there's 3 things I always harp upon while I coach and while I watch basketball itself. And it's never offense. It's discipline, defense, and rebounding. Yep. And with those 3 things in mind, you can continue to be successful in the NBA no matter what. And to me, Andrew Wiggins has those 3 things down. And like I said, regular season, he was all-star starter. Like you said, and Kawhi was not there right this season, so he may not have that role coming up, but he was. So we're gonna say what he was this last season. And what I saw in the playoffs time and time again was tremendous. And you're right, he might not be the number 1 option. He's definitely not the number 1 option on his team. That is Steph Curry. I had Klay Thompson at, I believe, 6, right? Last week. And he may be ascend to the number 2 option as always. But I think you have a great conversation in regards to if Klay is not hot, Andrew Wiggins is there. And Andrew Wiggins, to me, can be a second option and should be known to be a second option for the Warriors. And yeah, Steve Kerr puts him in some phenomenal situations to get him to score. But when you have Luka bringing the ball down, Ja bringing the ball down, and you see that 6'7" Andrew Wiggins with them arms stretched sitting in that chair waiting on him, that separates him for me from Anthony Edwards. And it sends him to the top 5 position. Now, also with this, my top 4 and then 5 through 10, those are 2 completely different tiers right there. In no way, shape, or form will I believe Andrew Wiggins will ascend to a Jason Tatum, Jimmy Butler, Kawhi Leonard or LeBron. I'll be damned. But he's sitting right there for me as the top of that next tier of players that I believe will have a great season this upcoming season and understanding his role even more. So that is what I say to the points that you said.
On this question, when you do your list, you think as a coach, don't it?
That's how I think. I think, who would I want on my team? Because I'm like Wiggins. I mean, you cool, but you ain't Kawhi. You ain't LeBron.
Yeah, man. To each his own. But also thinking about value. If Andrew Wiggins isn't on this team for the Warriors, I don't know if you guys.
That's fair.
Win.
That's
like I said last episode, man, they are the sum of their parts. Every piece is integral to that entire machine, man. Like, they got to get a shout out. Like I mentioned Poole as an honorable mention for shooting guards. I'm like, yeah, I mean, the man can score his butt off. So I got to mention him, So, all right. Anything else, gentlemen, before we get out of here?
This was hard.
Yeah, small forwards were hard. Maybe in the future we should do tiers and just like who was in this tier 1 and like do a ranking within the tiers.
Yeah, like let's maybe do like quarter or halfway through the season, like because this little season coming, right?
Yeah.
Who are we at with top tier? Who's our top 5 tier, whatever, so to speak? I think we should.
Ant-Man technically is like tier 2, but he can go into tier 1 if he makes that jump that Tuke was talking about. Because I feel like what I saw against the Grizzlies, where he was just scoring at will and it didn't matter what hand or two hands in his face, he might hop into tier one. He really might. Luka hopped into tier one his first year, I think, to be honest. Like he was just destroying folks. So we might consider doing that mid-season, just doing like a tier update, midway through the season, see where our players looking at. So all right. If you are on YouTube, please leave a like, subscribe, and also comment. If you are listening on a podcast platform, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to a podcast, leave a 5-star review. And we will greatly appreciate it. We'll be back again next week doing a top 10 power forwards, which probably might be as hard as anything else. Because we got players like Anthony Davis coming back from injury. We got Kevin Durant, who's a power forward by definition of ESPN. So tune in next week for the top 10 power forwards, and we will see y'all next time. Stay safe. Be blessed. Peace.